Right now at 5, allegations of misconduct against Miami's police chief prompt an independent investigation.
And we've got a pretty decent start to the day out there, but it's going to be another hot one and maybe another random shower or storm. We'll have a look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, the Community Blood Center of the Ozarks reaches out to the public for donations during a critical shortage.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. I am surprised it is 5 a.m.
Why?
You ever get so involved in reading something that you're not paying any attention to anything around you?
I guess so. Is that what was going on over there?
I didn't have my earpiece in, so I didn't hear any time cues. All I heard was the click of us going on air, and you start talking, and I was like, oh, it's 5 a.m.
I didn't even realize that.
Well, I'm awake now. I don't need the coffee this morning, because that'll get you started in the morning when you realize that the show's starting without you.
I'm glad you can make it.
Yes, me too. I don't know if you folks at home are necessarily glad I could make it, but here I am. And let's start with a look outside from our camera on top of the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. That has never, ever happened before, and it will never happen again. We got a pretty nice start to the day, and as we look at 7th and Range Line, our camera there looking fairly good as well. We've got mostly clear skies across the region, and not too bad from the MoDOT camera. 32nd and Range Line only showing the fog tracker a little this morning, because take a look, we do have some areas of patchy fog. Iola Grove, for example, down below 6 miles of visibility, but again, significant improvements in the morning fog compared to where we've been the last few days. Future track, once again, maybe even as early as noon, an isolated shower or storm will be possible out there. As you can see, anything we see is short-lived, and the majority of us, once again, are expected to remain dry today. Quick look outside. Temperatures are right about average out there. 71 in Joplin, 68 in Pittsburgh. Our average low, again, about 70 degrees. We're right near that. We're upper 60s to right around 70 out there for most of us. Today, we're going to be a little warmer, just a little above normal as we go back around the low 90s, or maybe 91, 92 across the region. And again, we'll have that isolated chance of a pop-up storm or two across the region as well. Our pop-up storm chances will continue over the next couple of days, and then things are going to really heat up. We'll have a full look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon. The city of Miami, Oklahoma is hiring an independent investigator to look into allegations of misconduct against Police Chief Thomas Hightower Anderson. The city did not provide details about the allegations, simply saying they were personnel matters. They also say the investigator will conduct a full, fair, and competent investigation. Chief Anderson has been placed on paid administrative leave until the investigation is concluded. Authorities in southeast Kansas seized a large amount of narcotics yesterday morning. A multi-agency law enforcement team served a search warrant around 7:30 at a Galena home. Detectives seized a large quantity of methamphetamine from the residence, along with paraphernalia and marijuana. Sabrina LaTurner was arrested at the residence and is now facing multiple charges, including distribution of a controlled substance within 1,000 feet of a school and possession of methamphetamine. A crash in Barton County claims the life of a Rogersville, Missouri woman. 30-year-old Aubryn Dudley was traveling south on State Route T when she failed to stop at the intersection of Missouri 126. Her car then traveled under a tractor trailer heading east, and the driver of the semi, Patrick Wright of Houston, Texas, was not injured. The Missouri State Highway Patrol major crash team was called in to help with the investigation. Joplin authorities responded to a gas leak yesterday on South Joplin Avenue. According to the JPD, sometime early yesterday morning or during the night, a vehicle struck a gas meter, shearing it off. Authorities call it a hit and run due to the property damage, and at one point, police shut down a 2-block radius to all traffic due to the significance of the leak. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. The city of Joplin wants residents to know mosquito fogging will begin soon. The scheduled fogging will take place tomorrow. The Joplin Health Department will fog early in the morning. If you would like to add your property to the fogging route or to view the entire route, you can head over to KOAMnewsnow.com where we've provided the necessary links. Well, a blood donation center based in Springfield, Missouri is asking the community for help with a blood shortage in the area. The Community Blood Center of the Ozarks says a main reason for the shortage is the lack of students in the area during the summertime. KOAM's Mitch Adams has the story.
I thank God. It's a very emotional thing to say, but for 2 years I pretty much kept her alive because every 8 weeks or so I was there the first time and the bag was coded to go straight to Edith.
The Community Blood Center of the Ozarks is in dire need for blood donors. According to the center's website, over 60,000 donations of blood are required each year to supply people with transfusions. The CBCO says that they are down to a historically low supply of blood, the lowest in the past 2 years.
We're experiencing a local shortage and have an emergency need of blood. We're asking community members to step up, make an appointment, and come in and donate.
Someday someone in your families is going to need a lot of blood instantly, and you're going to be glad someone else has donated.
Donating blood is a life-saving action in many cases, but the changing seasons can have an effect on amounts of blood stored.
Summer can be a challenging time for the local blood supply, part of that being we collect 40% of our blood from high school and college students.
Some ways you can help are by attending local blood drives and donating a pint of blood. Individuals with rare blood types are highly encouraged to donate for other rare blood types in need.
The Community Blood Center of the Ozarks, who provides blood for over 40 different hospitals and healthcare centers in the 4 states, says that they are down to just a day's supply left of blood, urging people to locate a blood drive near them and donate if possible. Reporting from Mercy Hospital in Joplin, Missouri, I'm Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
This Friday, KOAM is teaming up with Hideout Harley-Davidson and the Community Blood Center of the Ozarks for the Boots, Badges, and Bandages Blood Drive. Donors will receive a custom Hideout t-shirt, Boots and Bandages t-shirt, and Hideout Harley-Davidson giveaways while supplies last. The blood drive will be held at Hideout in Joplin from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Riverton's 12U All-Stars prepare for the Central Region Tournament in Indiana. We'll have the details. Plus, the summer games in Paris are now underway, while the winter games will return to Utah for the first time in 32 years. And we have a hot and mostly sunny day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Pittsburgh State softball had an historic 2024 season, which ended at home in the regional round of the NCAA tournament. Yesterday, the Gorillas head coach announces she is leaving PSU for a Division I job. Jenny Fuller has accepted the head coaching position at Northwestern State University, which competes at the D1 level. She was the head coach for the Gorillas for the past 3 seasons, compiling a record of 105-55. In her first season in 2022, Pitt State finished with just 10 wins. The next year, the Gorillas finished with a winning record for the first time in 6 years. Then in 2024, Fuller became the first head coach in program history to lead a team to 50 wins. We don't have word yet from Pittsburgh State as to when or how they plan on filling the head coach vacancy. The Riverton 12 and under All-Stars are headed to the Little League World Series Midwest Region Tournament in Indianapolis next weekend. They got to this point by winning the Kansas State Championship last weekend. Last night, the Riverton 12U All-Stars hit the practice field. It's the first time since 2010 that they will represent the state of Kansas in the Midwest Regional, and just the second time since 2002. Team has a matchup with the Iowa State champs in the opening round of the tournament and is excited for what's to come.
The teams we played, this is a tough area. You know, Baxter, Galena, Cherokee, Pittsburgh, they're good teams. And to overcome that is huge for us. We're a small town of 900 people. So these boys worked hard and they came out on top and they deserve it.
It was a pretty cool experience for being my last year because last year they beat us and just fun to beat them this year. I look forward to winning it. I want to win it and can't wait to play that.
Over to Joe Becker Stadium, another night, another game going down to the wire between the Outlaws and the Fort Smith Marshals. Tuesday night, Joplin won in 11 innings, and last night, Joplin Outlaws continued their winning streak with a final score of 11-10. To Major League Baseball, Cardinals at the Pirates. We're going to start in the top of the second, no score. Cardinals with runners on the corners and 2 out. Pedro Pajes takes the ball inside. Joey Bart throws to second on the delayed steal. Nick Gonzalez cuts it off and gets Dylan Carlson out at third. Cardinals miss out on a scoring opportunity. Bottom of the second, Pirates up 2-0. Connor Joe hits this line into center field. Carlson lays out but can't make the catch. It bounces off his glove. 2-run score on the double. Pirates up 4-0. Fourth inning, Rowdy Tellez crushes this pitch and sends it out of the park and into Allegheny River. Pirates take a 5-0 lead. So we go to the fifth inning. Martin Perez in a bases-loaded jam. Wilson Contreras is going to ground into a fielder's choice to end the inning. Cardinals get shut out by the Pirates in Pittsburgh. The final score, 5-0. And in Kansas City, the Royals lose as well last night, 8-6 to the Diamondbacks. KC allows 5 runs to score in the top of the ninth inning, which proves to be the difference. James MacArthur picks up the loss and the blown save out of the bullpen. Well, still to come, we're going to see why experts are looking at whether cold showers could help with stress relief. Plus, we'll have another check of that forecast, talk about those hot temperatures next week when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 517 now on this Thursday morning here in the 4 states, and we're starting with a live look from our camera on the Cornell Complex. We got mostly clear skies, a light breeze. There's still some patchy fog out there, but not nearly as much as what we've seen here the last few mornings. Looking pretty good from 7th and Range Line, and also from the MoDOT camera at 32nd and Range Line. And as we head over across state lines, just south of Pittsburgh at Kansas Crossing on 69, looking pretty good this morning as well. So we have that opportunity, and this is that pattern just keeps repeating for the possibility of an isolated shower or storm here or there. As you can see at 3, there's one maybe there. There's another little one over there. But you can also see how short-lived they are. Even the one that had a little yellow on it that showed up, very short-lived. But at least a couple of us may see an opportunity for some rain out there. We go into our Friday, and wouldn't you know it, the pattern repeats again. Maybe by 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll see slightly better chances for a few more of these isolated showers and storms across the region. And it may last a little longer. You can see by 10, still maybe 1 or 2 out there. Then those clear out. We'll see a few more clouds on Saturday. And thanks to the clouds Friday, Saturday, it's actually going to put our temperatures back below normal by a couple of degrees. And we'll have another round a little earlier, though. So maybe 8, 9 o'clock in the morning of some pop-up showers and thunderstorms as we head through the day on Saturday. And as you can see, we might see a few more of them. Again, a lot of us, I think, are still going to be dry, but we'll see a few more spots getting some rain as we head into our Saturday across the region. In Joplin right now, it is 71, southeast breeze at 5, average low is 70. Now remember, of course, our low for record-keeping purposes still hasn't happened just yet, but a lot of us much closer to average. We talked about this yesterday, and that's where we are. We've got upper 60s and some low 70s across the region, so we're about where we should be for the most part as we get the day underway. Same pattern again, so sunny skies through the morning, maybe a few clouds by 11, 85 by 11 o'clock. We might see a few clouds a little earlier because we could see the window for those pop-up showers and storms a little earlier as well. Again, most of us dry, and our highs still hot, but about where they're supposed to be. We'll have those heat index values approaching the mid-90s with highs into the low 90s. Overnight lows tonight, again, right about where they should be. And we'll have a few clouds overnight, so again, the clouds sticking around a little longer because we could see a stray shower storm stick around a little longer, and we'll fall back into the low 70s. And then we keep showing you that it's just what keeps showing up, unfortunately. Again, pop-up storms Friday, Saturday. That knocks our temperatures a bit below normal briefly. Maybe a pop-up storm Monday, a few more by the end of next week, but take a look at these temperatures. They escalate pretty quickly as we head into the next work week. Temperatures going into the lower 100s in the second half of next week. And that also, of course, means our heat index values are going to be pushing 105, maybe even a little higher. So I know we've kind of gotten used to being able to not take as many precautions out in the heat the last several days, but you're going to want to make sure you're staying hydrated, taking breaks. You know the drill when the heat gets dangerous. That's Check Your Forecast. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning. The CDC says the infant mortality rate in the United States rose for the first time in decades. According to a new CDC report, nearly 21,000 babies died in 2022 before the age of 1. Overall, there was a 3% increase from the year before in 2021. And some of the leading causes of infant deaths were birth defects, unintentional injuries, and maternal complications. Since 1995, infant mortality in the U.S. has generally been trending downward. Health experts say any increase is a cause for concern. Studies have shown ice baths can help with muscle recovery and stress relief, but now experts are looking at whether cold showers could also do the trick. In immersive cold therapy, the cardiovascular system is briefly shocked, spiking blood pressure and heart rate. That could lead to improved blood flow since the body needs to work to return to its normal state and warm up. Now, theoretically, showers between 50 and 60 degrees could produce the same effect to some extent. A 2022 study published in the journal Current Psychology found participants who took a cold shower for up to a minute daily for 2 weeks reported less stress levels than the control group. Experts say beginners should start with 15 to 30 seconds of cold exposure and then add 15 seconds every few weeks. Well, the threat to humans remains low, but U.S. health officials are on high alert after outbreaks of bird flu in poultry and dairy cows have led to several recent cases in farm workers. Mandy Gaither has more with an infectious disease expert on what you should know about this virus.
It's rare for humans to contract bird flu. Since 2022, 11 cases had been reported, 7 due to exposure to poultry. The remaining 4 cases are since April following exposures to dairy cows.
It's just being more watchful as opposed to hitting the alarm.
Dr. Stephen Gordon with Cleveland Clinic says bird flu can spread around the world through flocks that are migrating. The CDC explains that infected birds have the virus in their saliva, mucus, and droppings. While it's not common for people to get infected, it can happen when enough virus gets into a person's eyes, nose, or mouth, or is inhaled through air droplets or even dust. Most human cases happen after close, prolonged, and unprotected contact with infected birds or contaminated surfaces.
All the cases that have been identified in humans since 2022, most of those have actually been not even respiratory illness, but more what we'd say eye infection. Have not resulted in any death or increased morbidity.
Gordon says it is safe to eat properly handled and cooked poultry in the U.S., but people should not eat or drink raw milk or products made with it. Instead, choose pasteurized milk. Protect yourself by avoiding direct contact with wild birds. If you find a dead bird, don't touch the animal. Report it to your local health department. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The agency says that while a flu shot won't prevent infection with bird flu viruses, it can reduce the risk of getting severely sick from an infection with human influenza viruses, and therefore the risk of having seasonal flu and bird flu infections at the same time. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got a pretty decent start to the day. A little warmer out there. Temperatures about where they should be, though, for this time of year. Another hot day ahead of us. Maybe an isolated shower or storm. We'll look at all that when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, a business expansion opportunity will soon make its way to the city of Pittsburgh.
And we've got a mild start to the day, but an average start out there. Another hot one, maybe an isolated shower or storm. Look at those details in the forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, the Wilson County Fair is back in town this week with events for all ages.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:29. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is Thursday, believe it or not, July the 25th.
Yes.
Here we are. Again, like we mentioned yesterday, this is the last full week of July.
Flying by, and it's starting to feel even more like summer out there.
It is. Boy, we had, honestly, probably one of the cooler Julys on record. I mean, I know we've had some heat through the month, but the last couple of weeks, these below normal temperatures have been very nice. But as Elise mentioned, summertime is coming back, and it's coming back with a vengeance, unfortunately. Let's start with what we've got this morning. That way, you know how to get ready for the day. And that's what we're going to do. With a look outside first from our camera at 7th and Range Line in Joplin. We've got clear skies out there. A pretty decent start to the day. I know if you're waking up, you're heading outside, maybe grab the paper or whatever the case may be. It's a little warmer than where we have been. It's still muggy, but our temperatures this morning seasonably warm. As we look at the MoDOT camera, 32nd and Range Line, folks getting their day underway. And again, not a bad start to it out there. Quick check of the fog tracker. The good news is as you can see, most locations are fine on visibility. We have some reduced visibilities around Iola and Grove and even down toward Anderson. So a little bit of reduced visibility, some patchy fog out there. Grand Lake, of course, contributing to a lot of the fog we've had over the last couple of days down there in Delaware County, but not nearly as widespread as it has been the last several days. Isolated shower or storm possible. This is that same pattern repeating again between, say, noon and 7 p.m., 8 p.m. here at the latest. Most of us, though, as has also been the trend, will remain dry today. We're at 71 in Joplin, 68 in Pittsburgh, and around the area. Again, we're seasonably warm. I know it's a little warmer than what we've been used to. We've had some pretty cool mornings. We've had mornings in the 50s in the middle of the month. It's not like what we've experienced, but it's where it's supposed to be, and it's better it's where it's supposed to be than well above where it's supposed to be. Upper 60s, some low 70s out there. Again, highs hot, but seasonably hot as we go back into the low 90s. Isolated shower, storm possible, a few clouds here and there. Otherwise, again, just kind of muggy. Looking at heat index values right around the mid 90s, so it's going to feel a bit uncomfortable. It's going to feel even more uncomfortable as we head into the next work week. We'll talk about that and the dangerous heat that's on the way here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. The city of Pittsburgh agrees to match 10% of the total cost to help expand a local business. The Blue Spoon has its eyes set on a new location they hope to turn into a speakeasy style bar and entertainment venue. The location selected is on West 4th Street at the old Spicer Adams building. The project represents a total of an $800,000 investment. The city, which has agreed to match 10% of that cost through a grant, would pay $80,000.
We have about $1 million a year through our sales tax to help incentivize businesses to grow, to start new, and so that's how that's used. It complements our existing 50/50 sidewalk program. We always help with running utilities to the property lines, but this is actually for acquisition and development. A lot of times it happens to older buildings.
Blue Spoon says they still have financial investments that need to be secured before the project starts. However, the project is expected to be complete this coming March. Well, the Cherokee County Fair kicked off this week at the Cherokee County Fairgrounds in Columbus. Every summer, this annual event hosts 4-H and open class exhibits, food, a carnival, and other vendors. One longtime fairgoer explains what keeps them coming back.
When I first started coming to the fair, I was baby, a few months old probably. At the fair, I like to help take care of the animals. Sometimes I ride carnival rides.
There will also be live music performances every night of the fair. Well, the Wilson County Fair is back in town in Fredonia, hosting livestock, judging, photography, art, poster competitions, and more. KOAM's Melissa Alexis checked it all out.
There's a lot that goes into it, but it's really satisfying to see it all come together when your animals are like perfect and giant teddy bears at the fair.
Shelby Smith has competed in livestock judging contests for many years. She started showing small animals like baby calves when she was just 6 years old. She now shows much bigger steers.
So I show steers now, and I've done that. It's my passion. It's my favorite thing. This year I have two. Their names are Jim and Bob. They're best friends.
She says preparing for the livestock judging competition is a lot of time and hard work.
Every day my dad and I get up at about 5:30. We go down, we tie them to the trailer, and then we feed them tied up, and then we lead them a couple of laps each. We make sure that they have water, and then we also tie their heads up so that they get used to like standing at attention and looking all pretty.
Animals aren't the only pretty things you'll find at the fair. You'll also find art projects and creative wildlife posters. Grayson Coulter has participated in the poster competition since he was 7. Now he judges the posters at the fair.
Well, I'm judging a wildlife project. One is like appearance of the board, information on the board, and then also leads into what the knowledge they have, how well they do public speaking, because this is a public speaking project. That's kind of the whole point of it.
The public speaking is one part that Shelby Smith enjoys. In addition to livestock, she's competed in the poster competition for more than a decade.
About 13 years. In particular, I do shooting sports posters, which is the same premise but with gun safety instead of animals. So I've been doing it for 13 years. I've had a lot of success. I've won grand champion a couple of times.
Smith says she looks forward to seeing the creativity the fair brings out in everyone. Reporting in Fredonia, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
The fair will continue through this Sunday in Fredonia. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Climate scientists say that Monday was the warmest it has been in approximately 120,000 years. Plus, Israel's prime minister says if the U.S. gives his nation the tools they need, it will finish the job faster. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch. The Summer Games in Paris are now underway, while the Winter Games will return to Utah for the first time in 32 years. Nate Foy has more from London.
The Summer Olympics in Paris are now underway. The first event started Wednesday with rugby and soccer, ahead of a lavish opening ceremony set for Friday. But behind the scenes, French police are working hard to keep the games safe. On Wednesday, they announced they've disrupted several plots related to the Olympics, including one by a Russian man arrested in Paris, allegedly trying to, quote, destabilize the games.
The entire national police force has been mobilized during the Olympic Games. The police force will have no vacation this summer in order to guarantee everyone's safety.
Also high on the agenda is keeping athletes healthy as COVID surges in Europe and across the world. Australia announced 5 members of its water polo team tested positive, but so far the outbreak appears to be contained.
We have our respiratory illnesses protocol in place, and we have reinforced this with all of the teams as they arrive into our village.
Meanwhile, Olympic fans back home are celebrating the Games' return to the United States. Salt Lake City will host the 2034 Winter Olympics, bringing the Games back to Utah for the first time in 3 decades, with city leaders saying they'll make America proud.
We will present the world a new version of Salt Lake City and Utah because that's naturally who we're becoming. More sustainable, more welcoming.
The budget for the Salt Lake City Games will be $4 billion. The organizing committee says it will be 100% privately funded.
Climate scientists say it's plausible that Monday was the warmest it has been in approximately 120,000 years. Countries around the world continue to feel the heat, and the European Climate Change Service says Monday was the hottest day ever globally, beating a record set just the day before. Climate researchers attribute the scorching temperatures to human-caused climate change. Provisional satellite data published by Copernicus shows that Monday was 0.1 degree Fahrenheit hotter than Sunday. While scientists cannot be completely certain Monday was the very hottest day throughout that period, average temperatures have not been this high since long before humans developed agriculture. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says if the U.S. gives his nation the tools to defeat Hamas faster, it will finish the job faster. Netanyahu addressed a joint meeting of Congress yesterday while Vice President Harris and many progressive members were not in attendance. Dozens of anti-Israeli protesters, however, made their voices heard there in Washington. Chad Pergram has the story.
Benjamin Netanyahu had one message for lawmakers as they stare at a common enemy, Iran.
This is not a clash of civilizations. It's a clash between barbarism and civilization.
Netanyahu defended Israel over how it's fighting Hamas.
The prosecutor of the International Criminal Court has shamefully accused Israel of deliberately starving the people of Gaza. This is utter, complete nonsense. It's a complete fabrication.
While protests raged outside, a different form of demonstration boiled inside. Dozens of congressional Democrats skipped the speech in protest. The Senate's top Democrat attended grudgingly.
I will attend the speech because the United States' relationship with Israel remains ironclad and transcends any prime minister or president.
Palestinian-American and Michigan Democrat Rashida Tlaib wielded a sign reading, "War criminal on one side, guilty of genocide on the other." Netanyahu had harsh words for protesters.
I have a message for these protesters. You have officially become Iran's useful idiots.
Netanyahu praised President Biden.
I want to thank him for half a century of friendship to Israel and for being, as he says, a proud Zionist. Actually, he says a proud Irish-American Zionist.
And expressed relief that former President Trump survived an assassination attempt.
I also want to thank President Trump for all the things he did for Israel, from recognizing Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights.
One special guest of Netanyahu at the speech, Elon Musk. Some Democrats were furious that Congress even awarded Netanyahu a record fourth speech to a joint meeting of Congress.
But I can speak to the unified belief that Netanyahu should never have been invited.
There was one bipartisan moment, though. Netanyahu praised fraternity brothers from the University of North Carolina. They guarded the American flag from anti-Israeli protesters. The chamber broke out in chants of USA, USA.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:46 now on this Thursday morning. We're starting with a live look from our camera downtown Joplin. Looking pretty good so far, and you can see just a few clouds here and there. Otherwise, mostly clear skies. Looking all right from 7th and Range Line as well. And we'll head a little further south to 32nd and Range Line, where again, folks getting their day started. But again, as long as traffic is moving, it's always a good thing. And as we get a little more daylight here from the KDOT camera, Kansas Crossing and 69 south of Pittsburgh. Also, again, not a bad start to the day. All right, future track. This is the same pattern. It's going to be the same pattern for the next couple of days, but we're going to have that opportunity, maybe even as early as noon today, for an isolated shower or storm. Whatever we get will be very isolated and it will be relatively short-lived, but a couple of us may see a little bit of rain out there today. Most of us will be dry. By Friday, we're going to see this repeat, but as you can see, we might see a few more of these little pop-up showers and storms across the region, and they could last a little longer, maybe holding on as late as 10 o'clock across the region. Then we'll go into our Saturday. And, well, you guessed it, the pattern repeats again, but starts earlier. Might have a few showers, a couple of thunderstorms as early as 10 a.m., but again, keep in mind, they're going to be very isolated in nature. Most of us will remain dry, but as you can see also, there's a few more of them as we head through the day on Saturday. Right now in Joplin, we've got mostly clear skies, 71 degrees, southeast breeze at 5, and again, it's a bit on the muggy side across the region as well. Temperatures this morning, warm, but seasonably warm as we're into the upper 60s and low 70s, and as we get our morning underway, again, sunny skies, maybe a few clouds by 11 and mid-80s. So each day, because we update these things by hand, I've noticed that the temperatures, when I put in the new data for today, they've been increasing by about 3 to 5 degrees each day from what they were the day prior. So it's been a gradual warm up, but nonetheless, it's definitely getting a little hotter. Seasonably hot today, low 90s, a few clouds and maybe an isolated storm or two. We'll clear out a bit in the evening, partly cloudy at 8, and then a few clouds overnight, down to 79 by 10. Overnight lows, seasonably warm. Low 70s out there. Unfortunately, this seasonable weather does not last much longer. We go into Friday and Saturday, and thanks to a few extra clouds, whether you see rain or not, there will be a few extra clouds, and that'll keep our temperatures just a wee bit below normal, but it is short-lived. We go into Sunday, normal. Hot but normal, maybe a shower or two on Monday, and as we head into the second half of next week, that dangerous heat returns. We'll see temperatures going back into the lower 100s, and that also means we could see heat index values 105 or greater across the area. So just make sure you're ready to take some of those heat precautions next week. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Today's entertainment news takes us from Tinseltown to Broadway. David Daniel reports.
I stumbled on the side of 12 misty mountains. I walked and I crawled on 6 crooked highways.
Here's your first look and listen at A Complete Unknown, starring Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan. The Dune and Wonka star sings A Hard Rain's a Gonna Fall in the first teaser trailer for the film about the iconic singer-songwriter. A Complete Unknown is set to arrive in theaters in December.
And I wanted to do it in a way that was sort of haunting and a little darker. And
two multi-talented performers are set to make their Broadway debuts in Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club. Grammy nominee Adam Lambert is taking over the MC role, and Moana and Mean Girls star Auli'i Cravalho will assume the role of Sally Bowles. They'll take the New York stage beginning September 16th and are scheduled to perform in the show through next March.
I have rehearsed this part.
Jamie Lee Curtis is returning to Hollywood's Chinese Theater for yet another honor. The American Film Institute is conferring an honorary Doctorate of Fine Arts degree upon the Oscar-winning actress for contributions of distinction to the art of the moving image. She'll be recognized at the AFI Conservatory's commencement ceremony August 10th at the TCL Chinese Theater. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Well, stampeding sea lions scare tourists away from a crowded beach. Patrick Cornell shows us the animals run amok in days. Take a look at this.
Breeding season in California has given these aquatic animals quite the attitude. A surge of sea lions sweeping across the sand, sending beachgoers barreling towards safety. While it certainly seems like the sea lions are trying to target people relaxing near the water, experts say that's not quite the case. It's really just mammals clearing out a spot to mate. Simply bad timing with hot to trot season timing up with peak tourist season, so give them some extra space.
So the smaller guy that you see running through the crowd of people is the one who is just looking for a spot to breed. And the bigger male that you see come in at the very end of that video is the one whose territory he was trying to take over.
We're not done with cranky creatures. Over in London, this viral video shows a Kingsguard horse taking a nibble at a tourist that got too close. The woman forgot to heed the steed warning. That sign clearly states, "Beware, horses may kick or bite." This tourist found out the hard way, reportedly fainting over the encounter. Speaking of signs, the horse was caught on camera attempting to nip at not one, but 2 people right before the big bite. Possibly a signal that animal wasn't feeling the photo op. One commenter on YouTube siding with the stallion saying, "Stop running up to the horse for goodness sake, read the signs." For Take a Look at This, I'm Patrick Cornell.
Stick around, we'll be right back. Well, thinking of leaving your college-age kids at home for your next cruise? Well, not so fast. Virgin Voyages is offering a promotion that allows kids to sail for free. Kids between the ages of 18 to 26 years old, that is. Virgin Voyages is considering an adults-only cruise line. The complimentary fares come with conditions which you can find on Virgin's website. Travelers must book their trip by August 23rd and travel by the end of this year. Well, Corgis race for a good cause. The 2024 Corgi World Championship races happened July 14th at Emerald Downs in Washington State. It featured Corgis from across the country, and the races were sponsored by Amazon, with proceeds going to the Alzheimer's Association. The winner was a Corgi named Milo Bigglesworth, who traveled all the way from Wisconsin to race.
Why is that not an Olympic sport? Corgi racing should be an Olympic sport. And I'm kind of curious on the cruise thing. So with the kids, do they have to have a parent with them, or can they just sail for free anyway? Because, I mean, they're old enough to do it on their own. I'm now kind of curious about that. I mean, I'm a little too old to sail for free, and my kids are a little too young, but, you know. Go check it out. All right, sunny skies through the first part of the day, mid-80s by 11, maybe a few clouds here and there, and that's ahead of some partly cloudy skies once again, and maybe an isolated shower or storm, and the majority of us will remain dry. It's hot and muggy again today, but the temperatures are seasonable. Heat index values about the mid-90s out there. And then as we look into the evening, we'll have a few clouds overnight, falling back into the low 70s. We'll fall actually a little below normal Friday and Saturday, and slightly better chances of a pop-up shower or storm, but again, the majority of us unfortunately will remain dry, but we'll have a few more clouds, and that'll help contribute to those lower temperatures. Doesn't last long though, maybe a storm on Monday. Temperatures next week getting hot again. Dangerous heat returns as we go into the lower 100s, and our heat index values could be at 105, maybe a little more than that, so make sure you're staying hydrated and taking breaks out there next week. That's a check your forecast. We got a whole nother hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.